we've given in to what the women want. And we're doing it in sort of the cuttlefish mating strategy, which is like, I will just attach myself to you and hope that you give me sex in return. And when I get to have sex once every 3 months, I'm going to thank my lucky stars, and I'm going to write an X post about it, and I'm going to pump my fist in the air and get on Reddit and ask questions about how to do that more often.
I think that this stuff riles me up because the antinatalist doomer pill is just as bad as the kind of the MGTOW super conservative answer, which we'll get into. And for me, they're both equally bad, but I just something about the antinatalism really grinds my gears.
Men are worse, and women know their worth because we're all girl boss queens with our $100,000 a year email job, doing nothing.
You're sticking it to the man. You're sticking it to the man by putting a LGBT sticker on a warhead that you're dropping in Gaza. Oh my God, it's okay. You're bombing them with a sticker that's pro-LGBT. It's so fine. We'll get into that, but I think anything more on the description of the events, or do you think we handled it? And can you give a quick summary, or maybe a quick summary about
Sure.
what's the problem with A&E so far?
Yeah. I think so. The basic thing is, going from the bottom up perspective, is we have this we have this society in place that's over optimized the process of dating, the process of meeting people, and maybe the process of just about everything, but dating especially, right? And it's a huge problem because between men and women, there are so many things that you cannot replace, you cannot mimic, you cannot even there's no substitute for just interacting between men and women, and a man being a man and a woman being a woman. It's literally, even people who study it for a living, and every single one of us who has had a relationship will never fully understand it because it's like a spiritual level. It's like so far beyond our material world, like the love, you know what I'm saying? Like love is like bigger than anything you can conceive of. So you'll never understand it all the way, or even what the feeling truly is, or what you're supposed to do. So when you turn that into an app on your phone, it's like, I don't even want to say that you're cutting it off. It's like you're bastardizing it. You're twisting it and turning it into some crazy weird process.
Right.
But that's kind of what we've done. And I think that's okay. Just one other thing I'll summarize there is, I believe, and I think Tony agrees with me, that the main driver of this is that our society has given in to these feminine impulses. They're feminist impulses, and that's evil because of what I opened with, which is men are the leaders. And when men follow women, that was literally the original sin.
Right.
The original sin is a man choosing to follow his wife rather than lead her. So we've given in. We've given in to what the women want, and we're doing it in sort of the cuttlefish mating strategy, which is like, I will just attach myself to you and hope that you give me sex in return. And when I get to have sex once every 3 months, I'm going to thank my lucky stars, and I'm going to write an X post about it, and I'm going to pump my fist in the air and get on Reddit and ask questions about how to do that more often. And that's what men have been reduced to these days. So that's the summary of the issue. That's the summary of the issue from our perspective. All right,
and I think that's a hilarious analogy, but the reason I'm laughing is because it's sad on some level, but it's also, you got to understand that we're serious a lot, but this is kind of funny situation a little bit of how there is a cuttlefish mentality. But I agree with that summary, and I think I'll just add that dating and relationships have become such a parasocial thing right now, and it's just something that's not what humans are meant to kind of operate under. And it's just going to get, I think it's just going to get worse. I want it to get better, and we're going to give you kind of reasons. We're going to give you like tools to kind of figure out how to make it better and stuff. But it's just such a parasocial thing. When you said it perfectly. You said you're no longer, Dean, the gentleman who's, just have all these, who feels a certain way and who offers this perspective on certain thing. You're Dean the number. You're a certain number. Yep. And it's like that totally, like we got normalized to that concept when, you had your first job at Walmart or at Staples and at Sears, and, you had your CEO saying, maybe your district manager comes into the building, and, your boss says, "Oh, district manager's here." And he walks up to you, and, you're all nervous and stuff. And he's like, "Hey, how's it going, Dean?" And in his mind, he's like looking at you, and he's like, "You're 0418-223. Your employee number 0418-1823.
It gets your name instantly.
And then, what's your name? Okay, your name is Dean. And then, okay, perfect. I don't care about your name. He says, doesn't matter to me. All I care about is how much are you selling? I don't care about your name, your ethnicity, your other characteristics that are immutable. I just care about what are you selling and how are you profiting me. And that's a good and bad thing for capitalism. And I think the problem is with dating turning into that. You're now just like that for a woman, and also women are like that to you in some ways, and not you personally, but the men in general in society are looking. They're trying to fight back in two ways, and one of the ways is MGTOW. We'll get into that in part 3 of the next kind of discussion here, which we're going into. But part 2 is they're going to try to fight back by trying to play their game. And they're going to say, hey, that woman is actually just a number. And that number ends up being the wrong number. That number is how little effort do I need to put in to sleep with her tonight, right? And that's going to make it worse. You're feeding into a negative reinforcement parasocial dynamic where if you want to humanize the situation, you need to, don't burn it down MGTOW style, but definitely withdraw consent a little bit. And we're going to jump into prescribing. But before we prescribe, I want to ask you this. In good faith, is there a actual liberal solution to the problem? And I know you touched on feminism and stuff, but do liberals even consider the current state of affairs in dating an issue? And kind of go from there. What do you think about that?
That's a good question. So we were talking about that in the pre-show meeting because we were trying to figure out if that even exists. And we'll just think about that live right now together. So the way I think liberals must approach this issue, and I'm not a liberal. I was one maybe a long time ago, but I do have liberal friends, but we don't talk about serious things because they don't like it. So I'm gonna sort of steelman the liberal argument and just try to think of what it might be.
Perfect.
I'm gonna assume that they would probably take an angle of women aren't dating men because men aren't worth dating, right? They would say something like men are just worse these days, but and it'd be very vague. Like they wouldn't give specifics because as soon as you try to get specific, you start to understand that the problem obviously is not just isolated to men, and in fact doesn't originate there at all. But I would assume that they would say something along those lines, like men are worse and women know their worth because we're all girl boss queens with our $100,000 a year email job, doing nothing. We deserve a man who's gonna bring us flowers on the first date, who's gonna text us constantly, shower us with attention, and who we don't have to do anything in return. He also needs to pay, because that's the man's role. He's supposed to pay at the date, and also I'm only gonna have sex with him when I want to, and he's better, be good in bed, because otherwise, what am I even doing? Why am I even with him? They're gonna reduce it to all these like very superficial issues, and I think as I'm talking about this, I think what I realize is that the same the same thing that causes the problem to begin with is going to be their solution.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like it's a negative feedback solution.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
liberals do. And I think for me personally, what I would say to do is liberals, and again, for context, I'm not a conservative, I'm not a liberal, I'm just me. I analyze certain issues and I have an opinion on those issues, and that's it, right? So for this issue, I'm definitely not aligned with the kind of the liberal thinking, and I do believe this is what the liberals would say about this. I think they would say this. They would agree that there is a problem. I think that everybody can kind of smell that there's an issue, right? But I think their solution to the problem, sadly, and this hurts to say, but their solution is antinatalism. And I think what they're doing is they're withdrawing consent, not in a MGTOW way, but they're withdrawing consent from the nuclear family. They're withdrawing consent from classicity, if you will. They're saying, hey, let's embrace, you will put the goggles on. You will put the chip in your brain. You will date 1,000 guys. You will have intercourse with 1,000 guys in one day and post it on OnlyFans or whatever it's called.
Oh God!
They're actually embracing that, and then when they post about that on Reddit, you're gonna so much this. It's resonate.
Girl boss.
Upvote Skinner's box.
You go girl.
Exactly, and the fact that they're kind of saying that's so good. You're sticking it to the man. You're sticking it to the man by putting a LGBT sticker on a warhead that you're dropping in Gaza. Oh my God, it's okay. You're bombing them with a sticker that's pro-LGBT. It's so fine. Like that's the kind of situation. And I got a little bit extreme on there, but I think that this stuff riles me up because the antinatalist doomer pill is just as bad as the kind of the MGTOW super conservative answer, which we'll get into. And for me, they're both equally bad. But something about the antinatalism really grinds my gears, because when I go up to somebody who's been programmed to be okay with that concept, it feels inhumane to me. And that's as somebody who's very good at dehumanizing stuff, as you guys saw. When I go up to somebody and say, hey, like, what's the deal with the birth rate being 1.6 or 1.3 in some countries, or even as low as 0.9 in Korea, and they say, oh, why do you care so much about whether or not people reproduce? It's not your business. It's not your body, not your choice.
Yeah.
I work
How
for
did
a
this
company.
personally affect you?
Exactly, exactly. And I just have to get past their walls of the fact that they're programmed by, their HR department, CEOs, whatever, and they're just telling me, regurgitating just BS to me. And I'm like, dude, you're just regurgitating what they want you to hear. And I'm sick of it. Come up with your own opinion. Understand that creating humans is kind of the reason why you exist. And stop saying that that's
Yeah.
lame, and stop thinking you're unique by saying actually it's material. As a materialist and a postmodern materialist, I actually think it's everybody should have their own kind of opinion on and maybe yeah. So in my opinion, is get past all that, and that's kind of what I'm riled up. You got me riled up, and this is what it is. So I think that's their
Yeah.
solution, which
Yeah.
is not really a solution at all. It's just going to make it way worse. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the solution is to double down on the thing that made it bad in the first place, right? I mean, that's what they do. I mean,
What is up, guys? Thank you for checking out this clip from the Maneuver Life Radio podcast. If this content is up your alley, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and definitely drop a comment letting us know whether or not you agree or disagree with what was discussed in the clip. We do have full, unedited discussions that we upload on Mondays. The link for this one will be in the description. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good rest of your day.